we do need to just talk about realities of living. And one of those is that when Trump gets into office, he will be able to replace the general if he wants to. He will be able to, if they don't do what he says, he can just replace them. And that allows him to do whatever he wants to with the army because, the general tells the army what to do. And once he is allowed to release the insurgency people of January 6th, that will be his primary core army for Nazi work. These are the people who said, we believe in you. We want what you want. And so, all they have to do is whatever they want to do then. Because this one thinks just like us. So the idea that, you're safe is far beyond true. It simply doesn't exist. So you have to decide if you're going to, inform the soldiers with the Bill of Rights, saying that, you are working for us. You're not working for anybody else. You're working for us. And we will protect you from those who would otherwise, attack us. It's our democracy. It's not our employees' democracy. He is not ruler. He is not king. He is simply an employee. And the fact that we did not elect him, because only the Electoral College elects him, we can remove him if we so want to, by our own discretion, through redress of grievances. The proof of evidence that he didn't do what he swore to do. So now that we have that little tidbit out of the way, let's talk about the money. And the money is a promise. There is no such thing as numbers of money. There is only a promise of what I will do for you because you did this for me. And the resources that was required for the work to be done. Which means that, resources are the primary element of wealth, and work is the primary element of money. So if you do the work and you have the resource, you can do them. You can, actually have something in the future that you did today. But that's what money is. It's a promise. And of course, money doesn't really govern the world. What governs the world is what you believe. Because if you believe in something, if there's a war out, you don't really actually get paid for that. You just have to decide which side you're on. But anyway, the purpose of the discussion is that money must be tied to the population count, so that they cannot simply grab a number out of thin air and make whatever counterfeit claim that they have. They cannot make debts that we have to pay. That's proven to be absolutely incorrect to do. We cannot let them do that. We have to tie the money to the population count by constitutional law and then enforce that law. That's just the facts of life. And we have to enforce, limited capitalism will give us the control over the money supply, because it'll give us control over the government, because the money will no longer decide. You can't be a billionaire with limited capitalism. You can't even be a millionaire unless the people say that you can. And we have to go back to what is fair, what is justified, and what is true to life, not whatever fantasy and delusion that the universities have created for you, so they can be wealthy. And that's exactly what they did. They wanted to be wealthy. They gave themselves $1 million raise because of Reagan, and because they gave them the idea that, well, you can fix it all if you just rob the whole United States by selling off the gold supply and never ever paying a single penny in debt. We don't have to pay nothing. We'll just claim it's, money don't matter. Money don't matter. Debts don't matter. We'll just take it all for ourselves, which is exactly what they did do. And exactly what they spent it on, because they didn't spend it on anything infrastructure. They didn't spend it on anything that could create population enhancement or a nation in the future or any of that. They did not spend it on any of that. They just spent it on themselves and their toys and their trinkets and their trophies. So you have to take a hold of the nation itself and be its own leader by creating the law that is our decision for how this nation shall be run. That's the price of democracy. Our law, our nation, our decision. That's the price of democracy. So, and you want to avoid that. You want to say, I don't have to pay nothing. I ain't going to give a damn penny, as you did do. Just make me wealthy. But of course, the consequence of that are we are surrounded by threats, and they are not going to go away. We have to deal with them as a reality. And of course, one of the things that humanity and this nation did do is create a monopoly, a criminal monopoly out of medicine. Let the government pay. Well, the government can't pay. And it's, $5 trillion or more or less. I'm not sure exactly what it is today for medical purposes. That's the price that Americans pay for medical procedures of any kind. And that means 100 million of us pay $50,000 each. And that would include the Army. Maybe not. So you need to rip off the curtain of that, and stop the fantasy that a doctor takes 30 years to educate. He does not. What did you learn back when you were a child that you remember? Nothing. So what matters is what can or can you not do. And a simple test will reveal that. So if you can actually do what the job requires, you are qualified. You just have to prove you can. And that doesn't require a diploma. That requires a test. One simple test. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't matter what skin color you are. One simple test or two to prove under, with the camera involved, so that we can see it, that you can in fact know what you are doing. And then we have to, remove the damn professor that wants to charge $500,000 for per student. Got 100 students in the class, $500,000 per each one. That's $50 million for what? For what? For what? For a thief. You have to remove them. We have to stop them. We have to reclaim our medicine, and to do that we have to remove private enterprise from the business of medicine and turn it back into a public medical reality. I was born in a public hospital, and they were fine. And that's because, there was a private hospital here too, and everybody, they were all working together. It was a case of, some like one, some like the other, but it didn't matter until the unions got involved with health care. And then, of course, insurance took over, and insurance said, we'll pay for you wherever you go. We'll pay for you like a rich man gets paid for. And so everybody decided at that point that they're going to go to the most expensive guy they can find, at the richest facility they could find, so they could pretend to be wealthy, like the rich man does. And of course that worked out okay until there was until there was no public hospital left, and your insurance bill continued to rise and rise and rise and rise until you get to the 5 trillion mark, or whatever it is today, which is of course criminal extortion, because there's no way that they actually earn their money in rare situations. I have a little plate glued to my small bone in the leg. $66,000 for putting in 8 screws in a plate on a small bone. Wasn't resetting them. It was a small guide bone, fibula, I think they call it. And I had to tell them to stop at $66,000. And lawyers came at $66,000. And I said, take me to court. And doctors called and said, "We haven't been paid." And I said, "It ain't me. Your hospital environment did not pay you. Go talk to them." Anyway, Wall Street involved with medicine. I don't know if that particular hospital was, but when Wall Street gets involved with medicine, they make the price go up, and everybody steals from everybody else, and everybody in medicine bankrupts people. $66,000 for an hour's worth of surgery. An hour of work for I don't know how many people were actually there. $66,000 for that. There's no possibility that that was true or real or worth the price. There's none. But the end result is that you can't really even take them to court, because I don't believe in, I did, but I don't believe in the reality of the public anymore. They will decide for themselves that, hey, it wasn't me, so I don't care. It wasn't me, so I don't care. I get to have mine for free if I'm poor. And if I'm rich enough, I get the insurance will pay for whatever I want. And if you're in the middle, you just get to go bankrupt. That's all it is. You get to go bankrupt. So just like everything else, just like, everybody attacks the middle class. Everybody attacks the middle class so that they can remove the middle class and claim to be rich, or, whatever it is that they're working for. Everybody enslaves the middle class because they are the workers. And of course you have to have work done. If nobody's working, nobody's eating. It is that simple. Nobody's working, nobody's eating. And that's only when things are going well. So they enslave the middle class because the middle class are the workers. They want to take away your job. They want to take away your property. They want to take away everything that is the middle class so they can enslave you, not pay you anything. And of course, with the university involved, they want robots to take your place so that they don't have to pay you at all. The entire reality of computers today is that we want to replace human beings. That's what they're doing. They're trying to replace human beings. They're trying to replace drivers. They're trying to replace every portion and every part and everything that is human so they can be in charge of their robots. They're trying to replace humans for decisions. That's the purpose of quantum computers. They don't want you to have a say. They don't want you to be involved in life at all. They want to play God. And they want to play God with their computer. They want to play God with their computer. They want you to be the slave of the computer. And you can say whatever you want to, but you can't back up so easy. When war starts, you're pretty much drawn in because they're shooting around you. Either kill or be killed. That's the point. Kill or be killed. Once they take over from your life, there is no more job. There is no more resource. What are you going to do? Nothing. You're just going to war. Once they take over your decision, you have no decision anymore. The computer decides for you. The computer decides that there will be a war. The computer decides what the government will be, whatever it is. The computer decides. How many people are in charge of that? How many people are in charge of the computer that makes the decision for you? So they get to play God, and they get to release biological weapons against you, and they get to release poisons against you. But then again, the drinking water has poisons all around it. Trillions of tons. Just go look in the EPA files. They're hidden today, but I'm sure you can find them somewhere. Just enforce the reality that we are the owners here, and we will decide what is or is not going to be the evidence. We will decide if you are corrupting the evidence. We will decide. Not you, we will decide. As is the job of democracy. Your democracy is dependent upon your participation in the reality of what is true. If you don't decide what is true, the university will. And the university, as with COVID, will corrupt and contaminate and conspire against you and always try to make you their slave, as they already have. You've been paid with counterfeit money. How much more of a slave could you be? And it says, well, I can go down to the store and buy what I want. But there are damn few resources left. And when they're gone forever. And your child will die. And so will you. Because without resources, it's just a desert. And that's just the facts of life. Wake up or you're going to be extinct.